How did Lockhart become the barbecue capital of Texas? Hello everyone, this is Jim. Today we're going to take a little trip south to Lockhart, Texas, about 30 miles south of Austin. We're going to find out what's going on in Lockhart, and I hope you enjoy the trip. Everybody, this is Jim. We're here in Lockhart, Texas, about 30 miles south of Austin. Back before 1836, Texas was part of Mexico. Right after Mexico won its independence from Spain in 1820, there was nothing much in Lockhart. The Comanche tribes ruled over the area and made life difficult for the settlers. The new Mexican government wanted to settle land and build up the economy. They gave a land grant to impresarios, which is a fancy word for real estate developer, DeWitt Green and James Kerr, who hoped to develop and sell the land to the immigrants. Green and Kerr hired Bird Lockhart to survey the grant and lay out a town near Plum Creek in what is now Caldwell County, Texas. They named the town Lockhart after the surveyor. Because of the Comanches, not too much happened until after 1836, when Texas won its independence from Mexico at the Battle of San Jacinto. Texas also wanted settlers and had no religion requirements. The Mexicans wanted Catholic citizens, but the Texicans didn't care. So, with a government similar to the U.S., plenty of land and opportunity, settlers began to pour in from the United States. The settlers farmed and raised livestock, but grew tired of the constant Comanche raids and kidnappings. So in 1840, the settlers met with tribal leaders in San Antonio, hoping to work out a truce. The Comanches were supposed to return all the hostages at that meeting, but only one was actually given up. It was Bird Lockhart's wife. Settlers were angry about this and decided there would be no truce. Meanwhile, the Comanches continued their raids on the small farms and settlements. The settlers formed a militia to track them down. They found them at Plum Creek. A battle ensued where the Comanche leaders and most of the warriors were killed. During the Civil War, Texas was part of the Confederacy, and many men had left to fight in the Civil War. When they came back, the times were hard for them. There was prolonged drought, hard to raise crops, hard to grow cattle, not too much work. Lockhart was not on any major river or railroad line, so it didn't have that going for it. But one thing it did have, and one thing Texas had going for it, was longhorn cattle. At that time, in the 1860s, there were 6 times as many cattle in Texas as there were people. And the longhorns were roaming everywhere. The land was unfenced, and they just got out and they bred, and they did well in Texas. They enjoyed the climate. And so the men were rounding them up and then taking the market to sell the beef, because there was a big demand for beef after the Civil War. From the 1860s through the 1890s, Lockhart was the junction of 2 cattle drive trails that merged to become the Chisholm Trail. The Chisholm Trail went from Lockhart all the way to Abilene, Kansas, which was at that time the nearest railhead. Today, Interstate 35 pretty closely follows the old Chisholm Trail up north. All right, after the cattle boom, cotton became the king here around Lockhart in Caldwell County. In the 1880s, a new strain of cotton was developed that did very well in this dry Texas climate. And it became the big cash crop for Lockhart and Caldwell County up until about 1900. And as it began to peter out, something new came along. It was oil. South of Lockhart, in a little town called Luling, they had discovered oil, and they started drilling all over Caldwell County and in Luling and Lockhart areas, and oil came on strong from 1922 onward. But today, Lockhart is best known as the barbecue capital of Texas. In 1999, the Texas legislature declared that Lockhart was the barbecue capital of Texas because there were so many barbecue joints here. Now, all the barbecue joints pretty much sprung out of Black's Barbecue. The father of the Blacks, he liked to do barbecue. He started his meat market, And from that, we have Terry Black's barbecue, we have Kent Black's barbecue, we have Smitty's barbecue, which was, Smitty was married to one of the sisters of the Blacks. We have Chisholm Trail barbecue now, we have Barb's barbecue, we have Riley's barbecue. There's virtually a barbecue on just about every corner here in Lockhart, and it is the barbecue capital of Texas. When we say barbecue in Texas, we don't mean like grilling meat over an open fire. A barbecue pit is a special thing. It's more like a smoke pit. You have a firebox at one end, you have a long set of trays, and that fire heats up. It heats up the barbecue pit. The smoke travels down the pit, infuses the meat with a good smoky flavor, and then it exits out the chimney. They like to use wood as the media for burning, and two kinds of wood that is most often used in Texas are mesquite and oak. Now, mesquite has a really hot fire, so you have to be careful with that. The barbecue pit masters here in Lockhart told me that you might want to use a mesquite wood just to get your fire started, get it burning, and then when the mesquite is down to coals, then throw your oak in there. The oak burns at a lower temperature, it's easier to control. You control it through the admission of oxygen to the firebox, and then the sucking out of the smoke out of the other end of the smoker. The heat's a low heat in the 200-degree range, and they started cooking this morning at 6 a.m. and they'll finish that up at 6 p.m. and that's going to be for tomorrow's brisket sales. Anyway, barbecue is not grilling, it's really smoking.
Well, let's go get us some barbecue. This is how it works. First you get in line, you select your sides, choose your meat. Then when you get to your table, smile and be happy because you're in Texas eating barbecue. You order your meat by the pound. Today, brisket was anywhere from $28 to $34 a pound, depending on which barbecue you went to. Now, I went over to Black's and got me some brisket. I got a quarter pound, that's about right for me. And I had two sides. I had tater salad and coleslaw. So after you finish your brisket, it's best to get you a little dessert. I like either a peach cobbler or banana pudding. There are some places in town that specialize in banana pudding. They are world famous for it.
They were here at Cruise Market. One of the ways you can tell a barbecue has good barbecue is by the amount of parking that they have. So if you come in your RV, if you come in your pickup truck, if you come in your semi-trailer, they've got room for you, plenty of room here at Cruise Market. And I'll tell you, on the weekends, this place is filled. This is one of my favorite barbecues in Lockhart. They catered my son's wedding when he got married. Did a really great job. I really like their barbecue. Well, after that big brisket lunch, I'm ready for a little walk around town. So let's go see what we can see. Speaking of barbecue joints, here's another one, Barb's. Here's the historic First National Bank of Lockhart, started in 1888.
What you doing?
There's a cowpoke enjoying his beef rib, looks like, and a big bottle of Coca-Cola. Yes, it is. Dr. Eugene Clark Library for the citizens of Lockhart. Beautiful old building, and adds a lot of character and charm to this town.
Well, as you walk around Lockhart, we see the beautiful Caldwell County Courthouse. Supposedly, it's the most photographed courthouse in all of Texas. Continuing on, we see some architectural details in the town. Here's the old First Christian Church. Very ornate and a beautiful structure. Down on San Antonio Street, you see some wonderful old homes like this two-story with the columns. And here's a more craftsman style home. If you're an RVer and you're looking for a place to stay near Lockhart, about 3 miles south of town is the Lockhart State Park. Lockhart State Park has a 9-hole golf course. It has a swimming pool. It has playgrounds for the kids, and it has plenty of camping.
This is the full hookup area. This is space number 2. See, it has the A on it, meaning it's available. If you like this site, you can choose it, pull your camper in. It looks to be about 30 feet long, maybe a little bit longer, 31, 32. Comes complete with a shelter, picnic table, and smoker or grill for barbecue, depending on what you want to do. Over here on the other side, we've got the hookups. So you got your electric, water, sewer, and a grill for your campfire.
Well, that's all I have from Lockhart, Texas. Hope you enjoyed this video. Until next time, this is Jim. I'm signing off. Happy trails.